Throughout his three-day visit to Israel, one issue has dominated John Bolton's discussions: Iran. It was the main subject of his final news conference before leaving the country.
Regime change in Iran is not American policy. But what we want is massive change in the regime's behavior.
The Iran deal is defective.
To that end, he said Donald Trump's withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal and the reimposition of U.S. sanctions had begun to some extent to constrain resources available to Iran's military and spur domestic protests against the Iranian government.
It's just regular people saying they're fed up with the government. In small towns and cities, it's not the educated elite in Tehran, it's farmers and workers and small shop owners who are shouting death to the regime, not death to America, death to the regime.
Iran's president was this week keen to demonstrate a very different narrative, that of a well-funded military, unveiling its latest fighter jet, the kind of strength, he said, that continued to deter U.S. aggression. For John Bolton's hosts this week, the immediate priority is addressing Iran's presence in Syria. He said Israel's strikes against Iranian targets there were legitimate and that Russia had offered to cooperate. Bolton said that the Russian President Vladimir Putin had told both him and President Trump that Russian and Iranian interests were not aligned inside Syria, that Russia would be entirely content for Iranian troops to pull out altogether, but that Russia couldn't do that by itself, suggesting some kind of U.S.-Russian joint effort. Last week, the U.S. Secretary of State announced the formation of an Iran action group designed to spearhead a wider-scale U.S. government effort against Tehran. One Israeli analyst says it's a sign that the U.S. would not be willing to give up its own military presence in eastern Syria, if that is what Russia is seeking.
The Americans officially have already admitted that they're trying to interdict weapons going through Syria to Iran and by Iran to Hezbollah, that they're already doing some sort of indirect action. So I think there's already a hint that America is not only staying in Syria, but it's becoming more of an Iran-focused mission.
Okay, thank you very much.
For John Bolton, his next stop is Geneva, where he's due to meet his Russian opposite number. Harry Fawcett, Al Jazeera, West Jerusalem.